Hi, I'm Dr. Sheehan from Sheehan Natural Health Improvement Center, and today we are going to talk about good fats versus bad fats. Uh, when people come into my office, we talk about how bad, for lack of a better word, but actually a better way of putting it is that we overconsume carbohydrates, which turn into sugar, which raises insulin, which results in everything from hormonal imbalances, high blood pressure, increased triglycerides, increased cholesterol, tumor growth, weight gain, all sorts of things, decreased immune function. So we talk about that a lot, and one of the things that we talk about is that fats actually do not raise blood sugar, they do not increase insulin levels, and so we like to tell people that basically they should be having more fats in their diet as opposed to less. In fact, if there was a doctor named by the name of Dr. Weston A. Price, who about 50, 60, 70 years ago went around the world and he visited cultures that had not been touched by Western civilization to see what they ate, and he concluded that most cultures had 30 to 80% of their diet was fat. So fat has always been a big part of our diets. Only recently, through our government intervention, they told us basically we shouldn't be eating as much fat. But there's another video on that. That's for another time. But my patients ask me, well, what are good fats and what are bad fats? And I'm going to give you a rule of thumb, is that if you have to ask if it's natural, it's probably not. Okay, if you have to ask if it's natural, it's probably not. And this goes for almost anything. If it occurs in nature, okay, you could probably eat it to a certain extent, okay? But if it's something that's obviously processed, it's probably not good for you. So we're going to start with the good fats. The good fats, of course, are nuts and seeds. Okay, nuts and seeds give us a lot of fat, fiber, B vitamins, and so they're very, very good for us. I try to eat nuts and seeds at every meal. Okay, that includes coconut. Dairy. I think there was only one tribe on earth that did not incorporate dairy into their diets, if there was one. And so we've always had a lot of dairy. Dairy is the grass-fed dairy, okay, from grass-fed cows, actually has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids in it, plus some other things that are very beneficial. The only problem with dairy is that when people start off coming into our office, and they have different symptoms, usually we take them off dairy in the beginning because their immune systems are kind of beat up, and we want to make sure that dairy isn't an aggravator. It's not the biggest thing. Usually sugar and refined grains are, but dairy can aggravate some people. So just make sure that you don't have any problem with dairy, and if you don't, that's a good source of fat. Of course, good ones are going to be raw cheese, cottage cheese, things like butter, cream, stuff like that. The next one, eggs. Eggs are a very, very good source of fat. Okay, they're very high, especially if you get cage-free eggs, in other words, from cage-free chickens. From free range. Free range means that they actually go out into the yard or whatever they have, okay, and they actually feed. Whereas cage-free just means that they're kept inside something with no cages, which if you've ever seen pictures of it, it's kind of nasty looking. So you want to go with free-range eggs. Okay, free-range eggs actually have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA. EPA is a very important essential fatty acid, and that's the reason why a lot of scientists now, they say eat lots and lots of fish. Actually, eggs have almost as much as like salmon and tuna and stuff like that. Okay, so eggs, very, very good. Meat. In meat, we can talk about the meat category. We can talk about beef. We can talk about bison, elk, all sorts of things. Since we don't have fish down here, you can put fish in here. Basically, the meat of an animal. Okay, as long as it is free-range meat, or if it's grass-fed meat, if it is wild-caught fish, okay, you're going to be looking at a pretty good source of omega-3 fatty acids and essential fatty acids. Okay, once again, natural. If it's farm-raised, okay, like farm-raised fish, I would avoid it. And if it is grain-fed beef, I would avoid it. By the way, from what I understand, bison is still, the way that they have the laws, it has to be grass-fed. In other words, free-roaming. Okay? One of my favorites, avocados. Avocados are great because they have a specific essential fatty acid in it that's very good. There's monolaurin, and what's the other one called? Lauric acid, which are two essential fatty acids that are great for your immune system. Okay, they're also high in fiber, they're high in potassium and vitamin A. They also are very good at making things seem creamy. So in other words, if I have a kale shake and I don't have any coconut milk, I'll put avocado in there. You can also make avocado pudding. You can look that up, like look up ketogenic avocado pudding, and you'll see that you can put stuff in there like cocoa and stevia and chia seeds, and it tastes awesome. So anyway, avocados are real high on my list. The next ones are olive oil and coconut oil. These are great. These are some of the only vegetable oils that I would really suggest, okay? Olive oil has been shown to lower blood pressure, and it's also been shown to raise metabolism and raise testosterone, and also sensitize insulin, which is very important. Coconut oil, like I said before, is very high in monolaurate and lauric acid, which are great for your immune system. They also have what are called medium chain triglycerides, which are very, very difficult to store as fat, and they're used to increase your temperature. Okay, so these are great. Okay, now, so that's what I suggest for sources of fats. Now for bad fats, okay, first and foremost are going to be fried foods. Okay, in the wild, we don't have deep fryers, so we're probably not going to eat a lot of that. Okay, this is very high in trans fatty acids, the fried foods, and also a lot of times what we fry them in our vegetable oils, very, very bad for us. Okay, very destructive to our cellular membranes. Commercial farm-raised fish, chicken, meat, and eggs, they have a lot of what are called omega-6 fatty acids as opposed to omega-3s. You want to have more omega-3s than 6s. Plus they have other stuff in there. When they're farm-raised, they can have antibiotics or heavy metals and stuff like that. They're just not good for you. Try to avoid that. And vegetable oils. Okay, vegetable oils tend to be very high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are very inflammatory towards our body. So avoid those. Okay, if they didn't happen in nature, avoid those. Those are like the corn oils, soybean oils, canola oils, safflower oils, stuff like that. Avoid those. Okay, and it goes without saying that margarine, from the way it was explained to me, is one chemical step away from plastic. You can leave margarine out, like on the road, for a year, and you'll come back and you can still make a sandwich out of it. Okay, that's nasty. Margarine is really, really bad. It causes like a plastic, I forget what they call it, but basically it plasticizes you. Okay, very, very bad. When they introduced margarine, it shot up heart disease, okay, and autoimmune diseases and inflammatory conditions. Margarine, very, very bad for us. Okay, so like I said, just remember, if it occurred in nature, it's most likely good for us. If it did not occur in nature, it's not good for us. If you've got to ask whether it's natural, it's probably not. So, hopefully this helped out. Okay, if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. And also, if you want to take a look at our website or our Facebook page, there's links down below. Thanks.